Never fire the guns. Never fire the guns.
Laying them.
Sorry.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Finding Reason podcast. We are on season 4. It's your host Eric Freedom, and today why are you laughing, man? I got Coach Ed Masuda here.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, man?
What's up, man? How's it going?
What's up? It's going good, man.
Here we go.
Here we go. What are you gonna talk about today?
I don't know. I guess like just how things are here at the gym.
Well, I've asked everybody this question. Tell the people who you are, man.
Oh, I hate this question, man. Dang. I mean, I'm Ed Masuda. You know, I'm a coach here at Reason. Dang, dude,
Who is you, bro?
who am I, dude? I guess like, you know, the best way I could describe myself, you know, I'm just like a person who cares, you know. I think that's something that I've seen throughout the years is like I am someone who is deeply invested in like each person. And that's like something that sticks out whenever I talk to someone or whenever I come across someone. It's just that I'm just like a friendly person. That's the best thing I can describe myself as is like I try to be as friendly and welcoming to each person as I can. That's who I am. Like just a person with open arms.
Ed Masuda, the friendly neighborhood fitness coach.
There we go.
There we go. It's like Spider-Man, but not. Cool. Well, let's, just where are you from? Like what's your, like, you went to Arcadia, obviously that's how I know you, but were you raised in this area?
Yeah. I was raised actually in Almani down the street. So I grew up in Almani, bounced around. I went to Arcadia High School, obviously. When I was younger, I used to live in downtown LA, but I've, for the most part, lived in like the San Gabriel Valley, Almani, Arcadia, San Gabriel. I currently live in San Gabriel. So just SGV, born and raised.
How would you articulate your upbringing and your perception of where you live? Like, how would you describe it to others?
Yeah, I would say me, like, upbringing, like, I was very, like, fortunate to have two parents who, like, gave me pretty much a lot. Like, they always supported me in anything I did. They always let me try new things. If I didn't like something, they were like, hey, don't do it. If you really don't like it that much, go do something you really like, and then we can just try the next thing. Compared to, I feel like a lot of people, like, they either just don't want to do something in my area or like they're like very gung ho about it, right? It's like some people don't have like that piece of them that there's a trial and error. It's like you either go all in and you do it and you keep at it because you don't have time to waste on something else.
That's kind of, I feel like that's kind of unique and different to the average person that's raised in the SUV. Like that's not maybe like I feel like I raised my kids that way, or I try to.
Right.
But I know that that's kind of maybe that's a little countercultural. How do you feel like that's formed you?
Yeah, I think it's made me very optimistic on what the outcome of anything is, because there's always, like, where there's a will, there's a way. You can always just do something if you put your mind to it. And if it doesn't work out, there's always going to be another door because of the way you handled yourself in those situations. I think like just growing up in every aspect that I've been in, I've done the best that I could at it. I've made relationships, and if it didn't work out, I still had those relationships. But it's because of the way I held myself in those situations. Mm-hmm. Whereas like some people, it's like they're in it, they're there for the rest of their life. Like I've encountered that a lot throughout my life.
How
where people
so?
just like, for example, like I worked at Target. Like that's just like one of my first jobs was at Target. Mm-hmm. And most of the people there were like, oh, this is my job. This is the best thing I could get. I'm just going to stay here. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, this is like not a great environment for me to stay in. And that's part of the reason why I actually left, was that so many people were just like, oh, I'm going to like, this is my career job now. Mm-hmm. And like, there's nothing wrong with that if you want to keep growing, but if you just want to stay where you're at, for the next like 20 years and not go anything past that, that's like, it kind of scared me, you know, because I just didn't want to be in that position.
Yeah. I had a similar experience too.
Yeah. And they're just like, they just felt like they were like, this is the best thing I can do. And I was like, do you want to do something else?
Yeah.
It's like, why? Like, if you do, like, you can, there's like, well, there's a will, there's a way, right? You have to make time to do it, but you can still do it. Like, there are people who work full time and then still go to school at night and things like that. So yeah, that's just one example of.
How do you think the way that you were raised by your parents, you know, giving you the space to trial and error, how's that? I mean, maybe the answer is it hasn't, and that will just end my question really quickly. But how has that formed you into the coach? Like, how has that contributed to the way that you coach or treat people?
Yeah, I think the way that my parents brought me up was, you know, everyone is equal. Like, everyone should be loved. Everyone should be like just treated fairly and well. And I think I've brought that into everything that I do. Like, whether it's again a random sport, a new job. I don't think I've ever been shy when I come into things. Maybe like a little unsure of what I'm doing, and that's maybe come off as shyness. But I try my best to just go in, make sure I'm as kind as possible, to be able to make sure that everyone who comes in the door just feels welcomed, feels seen. And that's something that I've noticed, like, growing up, is like most people just don't feel seen. Like, I talk to people and I'll say something like, oh, hey, you remember this? And they're like, that was like 6 months ago when we talked about that. And most people just don't listen, right? It's like you have a conversation that's in one ear, out the other. And just try my best to make sure I hear them and understand them. Whether it's just like a small interaction or whether it's like someone that I'm going to spend the rest of my life as like a friend or like a acquaintance or like someone that I just meet that I know it's going to be around for a long time. Everyone should be treated with the same amount of like attitude, your intention behind how you're talking to them, everything like that.
Or your future partner.
Or your future partner, right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's something that my parents definitely put in me, is like, how am I going to treat this person? And, you know, should I do it correctly? And like, should I not? And it's just like morale, right? It's like, am I going to like, who am I when I approach someone? And I approach someone the same way no matter where I am. Right? It's like, you know how there's people who are like, I'm in a different space, I can act like a different person. I don't know if you've ever heard that. When people like don't feel like they like the person they are in that space, they'll go to the next place and then they'll act like a totally different person and reinvent themselves.
Interesting.
And that's fine, you know, if that's something that you want to change. But I feel like I always have to come at people with my best attitude, because that's who I am and that's what they deserve.
I can see that. Why do you feel like, how do you feel like your parents instilled those values in you? What were there specific things that they did to instill those values?
I think the biggest thing, I don't know if it was specifically like something that I can recall from when I was a child, but like I have a twin sister, and everything that I did was shared while still being able to have my own space. And that's part of the environment that my parents gave me. But being able to share with a sibling and like someone who's like my best friend and someone who like is around me all the time made it easier for me to just incorporate other people into my life, because it's not like I've always been alone. I just want this to myself. Everything's been a shared experience. So every time I go somewhere, it's a shared experience. I think that's definitely been a big shaping piece to that. Like
wherever you went, it was like if someone saw you, they'd be like, "Where's your sister?"
Yes. Kind of. I think as we got older, we kind of drifted away from that identity because we are different people. But growing up, there was definitely that, because like we would always take the same classes. If she played a sport, I played a sport, or vice versa. If she did an activity, I did an activity. And it wasn't out of like, you should do it because they're doing it. It's because we wanted to try different things. You know, she was a person who influenced me and I was a person who influenced her. So we just did things together. And again, like, because we were in a space together and we always had someone to share that experience with, it's very easy to incorporate other people next to me, because it's just another person within the shared experience doing the same thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. How do you, I mean, so being a twin is a big part of your identity. right? Like, it's like you're a twin, like you've always had a twin, right?
Totally, yeah.
Right? It's like you've had a best friend basically attached to the hip since you were born, pretty much, right? How has that, if you guys obviously you guys are, first of all, the opposite gender, like you're not the same gender. And as you guys have like, on top of that, kind of formed different lifestyles, how have you, as you've grown and separated apart, how have your values changed, and how have you, because like you're like into fitness now, like how'd you get into that? How did that become a thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing sports, like I just said. And then when I committed to something, people kind of just saw my potential and just kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me, and made me believe that, I can do something with this. I can do something with this. And I think growing up also, I had the mentality of like, I always like, when I finally get to my career, I want to do something to help someone. I don't know how I'm going to help someone, but I want to help someone. So, getting to the end of my senior year, playing football, I had the opportunity to go to Laverne to play college football, but also they had a great athletic training program, which is what I wanted to study. So I went down that route, kept playing football, kind of fell out of love with it as like I got older, because it just ended up being not a reality. Like
high level,
right? It's like I was playing at a Division III school. It was like fun in games, but in the end of the day, I'm not going to play semi-pro. I'm not going to go play in the NFL. It was just a size thing, right? Like I think I had the mindset for it. I think I had the drive to do it, but I don't think I had the size for it. And I came to terms with that very, very early. So I was just like, let me just focus on school. Let me focus on my career. Like, where am I going to go with this? Or what am I going to do? Because after my first year, I think I fell out of that athletic training, like, bug that I wanted to like, or that itch that I wanted to get over. And I ended up not wanting to do it anymore. Still wanted to go down the kinesiology route, but didn't know where. Tried physical therapy.
Similar to my route, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like anybody that's gone down the kines route has done the same thing, right? It's the athletic training, probably / physical therapy. You can go down so many things with kinesiology that like your options are so wide that you have to start narrowing down pretty quickly. Went to PT clinics, chiropractic clinics, athletic training facilities, like just tried to get as much experience as possible to see what I really liked. Ended up not liking any of them. And then I was fortunate enough to have my cousin, he owns a gym. He asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to be a coach? Like, do you want to try this? I said, sure. Like, why not? So I went to go try it. I really, really liked the what I got out of it, like the feedback. Whenever I was like doing a workout with someone or training someone, they would just come up to me like, that was such a great workout. I feel amazing. And there was just so much like, why am I blanking out?
Like just positive reinforcement.
There's just so much positive reinforcement coming out of it that I was like, wow, I really like this. And I can see that I'm making a change in someone. Whether like, I didn't know if it was physical, but it was definitely mental, and it changed someone's mood to make them a better person. And that was like, wow, maybe this is what I want to do out of my degree. So that's kind of how I ended up becoming a coach and like heading towards this route.
How have you you started in a very different type of gym, and you started in a very you started off trying to heal people from being hurt, basically, right? Like athletic training, physical therapy, that's kind of the route. How do you feel like you figured out that this is what you wanted? Like, even as you're doing it now, what does it mean to you?
Yeah. I guess going back to also the first question as well, when I was working in those like physical therapy clinics and all the other clinics, they were one, just like really slow for me. So I wanted something a little bit faster paced, but two, like I saw that everyone that came in was someone who was injured because they like picked something up and they hurt their back doing it. Or they didn't know how to engage their midline, or they didn't know how to use their legs. And I was like, wow, like a lot of people here just didn't know the proper technique from early on. And that kind of like, when I was in that in between physical therapy and coaching, kind of pushed me towards the coaching realm. Cause I was like, oh, well, if I just start them earlier, all the physical therapists will only handle the people that they need to handle. Like people who just got in a car accident and like they had no control over that. But if you have control over it, I don't think you should be in physical therapy, right? So I mean, that's kind of how I came to terms with moving over from a place of, you know, rehabilitating someone to kind of prehabbing them, preventing injury, and, you know, letting the professionals handle like what is really like important, or like the really people who like need the help.
That's good. And then I mean, how does that? I see definitely your heart in that, and in the time that you've been here. How do you pivot from, like, when did you know that 100% this is it? Or like was it like right away? You knew right away, or was it like a shift slowly, or was it how'd you know?
It was definitely a slow shift, right? I came here when I was a senior in college, right? I was still kind of like figuring out the route I was going down. I was still working at a physical therapy clinic. So I was in the in-between. Like, I got to see both ends of it at the same time. And I think the shift coming here and realizing that I could make a career out of it, and not just like I train 2 people a day and then it's a hobby when I get off of my 9 to 5. Then I was just like, I can be here full time and have fun doing my work full time. Cause honestly, like, getting near the end, I was kind of scared. I was like, do I just like go with the I guess more safe route of going back to another school and finishing my degree, getting my doctorate in physical therapy, or do I like take the risk and kind of see where the
still an option too.
Still an option too, right? I'm still, and I think that's what reassured me as well. Is like again, going back to also the very, very first question is how I grew up. Take a leap of faith. You know, I still have some time, and I'm fortunate to still have my parents who can, you know, if need be, support me, kind of. But obviously, like, I can try this, you know, do my best at it, give it my all for a while, which has worked out pretty well so far. And if things end up not being the best, I can go back to school. I know that's like not many people can have that option, but I'm fortunate enough to do it. So I just, now that I have this opportunity, I'm just going to take it as hard as I can. So that way I can see where it takes me and know that I didn't like leave any rock unturned, you know?
That's good. How do you feel like in the January will be year 3, right?
I'm starting year 3 right now, so I'm in year 3.
You're in year 3 right now. So January will be like the completion of year 3, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And you know, from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, being here now, how do you feel like you've changed? Like, what have you learned? Probably a lot.
Yeah, a lot for sure. I think the biggest thing was, you know, the soft skills. It's like how to talk to someone. When I was coming out of like high school and coming out of college, I thought I had like so much confidence in like the way I was able to connect with someone. And then I didn't realize that I had 2 ends of it that I couldn't put together, if that makes sense. Like, I had the hard skills where like I did the schooling, I knew the textbook answer, you know, and then I was able to talk to someone on a personal level. Yeah. But I didn't know how to put them together. And I think being here has helped me put them together at the same time of being able to relay a very like hard, like kind of like anatomical scientific question, and just make it easier for them to understand. And just being able to relate with them in their everyday life of like how it's going to help them. That's where I kind of had the big difference is like, you know, it's either a very technical, like biological answer, or I just couldn't give them the answer because, but I can talk to them. Right. So it was kind of hard to put those together. And that's kind of the pieces that I put together here, or the biggest thing that I think I've gotten out of being here.
I was thinking about, as you were saying that, it made me think about like who you were when you first started. And I think that my appeal for you when you first started was, I mean, how old are you this year? I always have to ask.
Turning 25 this
year.
Turning
25, but I feel like you were 21 when you first started interning. 22, right? And you're one of the big, and I knew you since high school. And I knew you in the weight room setting as a captain of the football team. And, you know, there's a certain energy that comes with being the captain of the football team,
Yeah.
right? Like you have to bring a certain type of energy and a certain type of leadership. And it's like football's like super machismo. It's super like, I mean, I don't want to use the word toxic energy, but but like in some ways it's just super masculine, hardcore. Everybody's like kind of puffing their chests.
Totally.
And it's like you almost need that confidence and a little bit of crazy to go out there and head on tackle someone.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you got to believe that you're like, I'm out here to kill people, basically, right?
Totally.
Like,
Yeah.
Like I hope he gets hurt. Like when I
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No,
it's kinda-
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like that's the typical strength and conditioning room of a high school and collegiate football team.
Right.
Right. It's like that kind of energy. And but one thing I always noticed about you, even in that setting, was that I always felt like you really cared about your teammates, right? And I almost felt like that kind of energy was hard for you to have. That was just my take. Maybe that was you in that era. But I always felt like me watching you, like you had that energy, but it was like you were trying to have it.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I think that like comes back and forth to what I was just saying is like, you know, I had one or I had the other, but I didn't have them at the same time. It's like when I got on the field, I think any of my teammates that were back then could like vouch for this. Like I was a different person. Like I was like, that was my place to get out anger. Mm-hmm. That was for a place for me to be like a little bit more like destructive, quote unquote. Like me growing up, I was always like the bigger kid and I would always like break things because I didn't know like how strong I was. I always had to hold back on things. Yeah. And being out on the field, I could kind of let it go. Yeah. And then when I wasn't on the field, now I'm back to reality. I'm a nicer guy. That's who I am. But
it's like, a flip of the switch, right?
It's a flip of the switch, but it wasn't like a cohesive thing.
But it was still different though, because I noticed especially a lot of the players on the offensive side, they were really, really cocky in game. Yeah. And then they were also really cocky in the weight room when I'm like, dude, you don't really you didn't earn that confidence in the weight room. Yeah. Right? They just kind of like slide around and like not really pay attention. Yeah. Whereas like I noticed Frankie on the offense side. Mm-hmm. I noticed Frankie was like, he's pretty confident when he's on the court, on the field. Yeah. 100%. But then in the weight room, he's like a pretty humble, coachable kid. Uh-huh. He's not a kid anymore. He's a man now. But like at the time, like I kind of noticed that. And I would notice like certain players like Jake and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, like they're tough when they're on the field, but they're really, really coachable and almost like quiet leaders in the weight room. Yeah. Right. So that's kind of what I noticed about you. And I thought to myself, like, I feel like that would have made a great coach even back then. Mm. And I never thought that one day, like you'd be working here and coaching at Reason. Just because I never thought it would pan out that way. Like it's not like I planned that. Right. But I noticed that about you. And I feel like for me, when I look at our entire coaching staff, or even just as a hiring principal here at Reason, the first thing that I kind of like, Ish behind the camera right now, but even the way that he takes photos and the way that he does stuff and the way that he works, it's like I always look at character first. And for me, the thing I care about, like first and foremost, is like, does this person care? Mm-hmm. Does this person care about what they do when they're in our facility and when they're outside of it? How does this person carry themselves on a consistent basis, right? And I feel like you carry that. Like you have that. Like I could just tell that you really, really cared. But I think there's it sounds like what you're saying is there's a disconnect between your ability to care and your ability to like display that care and connect, right? And I feel like that's definitely something that you've grown in. How have you developed, or how do you feel like you've changed as an athlete then in the last 3 years?
Yeah, I think one, growing up in that football mindset of like going in on things, it was always like lift as heavy as you possibly can. It was always like ego lifting, with it being like performance-based ego lifting, if that makes sense. Like it was like you had to lift as heavy as you can because it's better for your performance. And I think that always correlated with me being some sort of injured at all times. Like I always had like back pain. And I was young, so I was like, it's nothing. I went to doctors and they were like, oh, it's like you're just heavier. That's pretty much it. You're just heavier. That's why your back hurts. Okay. And then now, being an athlete now, I really try to listen to my body. Like I know when to slow down. It's not like I have an injury, I can just push through it. Like now I don't have back pain, or if I do, I know how to address it and I know how to like take my time to get back into things. Mm-hmm. Whereas like I don't have to go in anymore. Cause now it's not for so much performance. It's about life now. Right. Like at that time, like I was ready to go in because, you know, we had to win a CIF championship. But I don't have to win a CIF championship anymore. Yeah. I just have to show up and be like there for myself every single day, or like for my family and things like that. So I think that's where I've changed as an athlete, is like learning how to slow down and take care of myself instead of just like going in and just thinking I can muscle through anything.
I'm gonna get this one on camera. Who or where do you want to go as an athlete in CrossFit?
Oh man, that's been the question for this last whole year. I think honestly, I just want to hit that milestone right now. I just want to hit that milestone of being a quarterfinals athlete. And I think I just kind of kicked myself in the butt out of this year for not submitting my score on accident. But I think just being consistently there, knowing that I can move well and at a high skill, just because I still have that semi-competitive itch, or just like high level like itch to like move at a higher level. Like that's why I do so many gymnastics and heavy barbell stuff. I think just consistently being able to hit quarterfinals, to me right now, is a level of fitness that I want to reach and sustain. I don't know if I'd want to be anything higher than that, just because of the time commitment to that. I think the time that I could commit now is a lot already to my fitness. So just like staying there and being able to maintain that and just feel healthy doing it is really where I want to stay at, where I want to be.
Do you have a magic or secret sauce for you that you feel like helps you train or perform at the level that you do, that's unique to you?
I think to me it's just I don't think it's like any special like item or anything that I do, but I think it's just like the motivation of like why. It's like I always want to make sure that I'm the person that, like, in my family, that like I don't need the help. Like I can ask for the help if I need to, but I don't I don't want to be like there and someone asks me to help them with something and I can't do it. I always want to be able to do it, and like knowing that like if I come in one day and I can't lift something, I'm like, wow, like that sucked. But like it's my motivation every day to make sure that I take care of my body so that way I can do those things. You know, that's really like what I bring into every day, that when I train, like even if like there's a lot of days where I'm like, oh, like I don't want to train. Like I'm tired, man. Yeah. But then I'm just like, you know, I have to do it. I have to do it. So.
Really serious question. Pre-workout or no pre-workout?
Pre-workout every day.
How many milligrams?
Pre-workout, 300.
300 milligrams. Dang.
You know, and like, I think the thing about that is like, I don't think I need the pre-workout to work out, but I love that feeling of like that, like you want to just like your heart's racing, like you get that little itchiness to like be able to move. It forces me to like go a little bit harder. I think like just being like chill, like I'm like that all the time, and I could bring that energy, but when I work out, like I want to bring more energy to that. You
have a busy day, you had a busy morning, and you could not train until 2:30 p.m. Pre-workout or no pre-workout?
Pre-workout. I'm still doing it.
All right. 8 p.m. is your training session. Pre-workout or no pre-workout?
I probably, if I know I'm training at 8, I probably either drank some sort of energy drink, like maybe like an hour or two before that.
Dang.
So I can like at least have a little bit of time to cool it off, but I'm definitely still taking something.
Holy cow. Dang, if I took pre-workout at like 6 p.m., bro, I'll be up till 6 a.m., man.
No, but I'm going in that hour, so I know I'm working it off.
Dang. Okay. Dang. So definitely team pre-workout.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Dang. Tracking macros or not tracking macros?
I don't track macros. I do like a 50-50 where like I track it to see where I'm at for the day, just to make sure I'm on track for the end of the day. But I don't track my last meal of every day because that's where I eat with my family. So it's kind of harder to track that. So I just make sure that I have enough space to be able to eat what I can. And that way it's easier when I go to eat with my family, because honestly, like growing up, I was always like the trash can kid or like the vacuum, where it's like if someone didn't finish their plate, they would hand it to me. So like knowing where I'm at has helped me like oh no, I'm okay. But
on that note of you cleaning out food, what's like your, because you grew up in the SGV, right?
yeah.
So what was your like, not healthy, but just any kind of food? What was like your top number one place that you'd like to go to growing up to eat?
Oh, around here, I think one thing that like me and my family always like was a go-to when it's like, oh, let's go out to eat is President Thai on Rosemead.
Okay, yeah.
You know, the one up, yeah. President Thai, always a go-to.
Okay.
It was something quick. Loved going to Tops.
President Thai's not quick, dude. Oh, you mean
No.
If
It was something quick, I would
Okay.
probably go to Tops up in Pasadena.
Okay.
But if
Off
I'm like
Michelinda.
sitting down, off Michelinda, yeah.
What's the go-to at Tops?
Go to at Tops, it's either the barbecue bacon burger for like something that's like not the cleanest, but if I'm trying to stay a little bit cleaner, I would say the chicken chipotle wrap.
Dude, that thing is delicious.
So
that
good.
thing's not clean though, bro.
It helps me ease because it's chicken, you know.
Bro, that thing's got like super
But I mean,
orange sauce in there, man.
if you look at the menu, like
Yeah, I was
There's not
thinking,
a lot.
I'm trying to think the cleanest item there that I get.
probably
Maybe
like the chicken, the tostada salad.
No, there's a turkey ciabatta sandwich or something like that. Have you had
Yeah,
it?
I haven't, but I don't like turkey like that.
Oh, you don't like deli meat?
I don't like deli meat. No,
Oh,
I like honey ham, but I don't like sliced turkey. So
Dang, okay,
Yeah.
that's probably my go-to better thing there. But Tops is delicious though. What's a couple healthier spots that you, when you eat out, you like to frequent?
I like going there. I'm trying to get my family to go there more often, so it's easier for us to go there. But Summer Rolls, I think like pretty much all of us at the gym go to Summer Rolls. Always get the lemongrass chicken, right? That one, B-Man's. I like going to B-Man's a lot. It's
What's the
easy.
go-to at
Teriyaki chicken plate,
chicken.
and they're never stingy. So you're always hitting your macros. I think those are like my two go-to like healthier spots around the area.
Cool. One last thing that we like to do as part of this series is do you have an item of significance that represents past or present, something meaningful in your health and fitness journey?
Yeah. I brought my cleats. These are my
Oh, dude, the cleats are back, dude.
These are back, dude. I always have these. These are the ones I wore in college, but I chose those ones because one, they're always.
Bro, you're not 11 and a half.
I know.
You're 11 and a half?
I'm not 11 and a half. I am a 10, but I'm a big dude, and those are made for very skinny guys. So I always sized up because I like the look of those cleats. I didn't like the look of like the chunky lineman cleats. So I always got like a size up, and
This
I
is
wore
for skill player, right?
This is a skill player. It's like a
Skill player.
receiver cleat. So I would.
Hey,
I
dude,
would
it
do this.
smells really good.
Yeah, dude.
I'm a freak, dude. I don't know why I just smelled it.
I stay clean, man.
Dude, I thought it'd be like really pungent.
No,
it doesn't.
I take care of my stuff.
It smells
man.
clean, dude.
I take care of
What
my
the
stuff,
heck?
man. Come on.
Dude, hey, it's legit. It smells good. It smells like. Okay. It actually smells
Okay.
good. It's actually. Wow. It smells like laundry. How'd you do that?
I just smell good, dude. I don't know.
Why is it significant to you?
I think it's like this like was something that is always in my car because whether it's like daytime or nighttime, I was always willing to go work out and go do something. Like when I was in high school, I would have like my practice. I would go home, eat, do homework, and like if I felt like I had that itch, I would just go out to the field and I would just run. I'd like do 100-yard sprints. I do like tire flips. I would just go do something at the field and just move for like an hour. And then I brought that into, just after graduation, after I finished even playing football, I always had my cleats because that's like all I knew before I started getting into CrossFit or like any other like type of training. Is like I always just like went to the field, laced up my cleats because it felt comfortable, and I would just go. Like I would just do something for an hour and just move, whether it was sprinting, whether it was just like long running, whatever it was. But I just like it just made me feel comfortable, and I think it's like significant now because whether it's like early in the morning or whether it's like super late at night, like I always have something to like just go and do it.
What would it take for you to do the Open next year in those cleats?
No way, dude. Nothing.
Nothing?
I couldn't unless they do that. Remember that year that at the games they did like that obstacle course? What was it like?
Oh yeah.
I would wear it for those.
All right, hey, let us know. Let us know in the comments if you want Masuda to do the Open next year in his football cleats.
As long as if there's handstand walks, I'll do it like that.
If we get over 5 thumbs up on YouTube,
that's so little. That's so little.
If we get over 10 thumbs up on YouTube, then he has to do the open in the football cleats.
All right.
But cool, man. Thanks for joining us. Just one last question. What's I'm gonna end with a little controversial note here. You're like quintessential Gen Z, right? You identify as Gen Z, right?
I would say I'm like right in the middle.
Right in the middle of Gen Z, right? So what is something that you know that your generation doesn't want to hear?
Oh man.
It could be more than one, but what's something that you know
doesn't want to hear?
Something that you know, but your generation doesn't want to hear it.
Man, I don't think there's anything that we don't know already. I think we all know it, and we're just like hoping that it's not true. But it's like, I think for me, the biggest thing that I'm like, damn, like, is this really like our generation? Is like, we're probably not gonna buy homes. I'm scared. Like, I want to buy a home.
Things could change, yeah. But
things could change, but that's.
But y'all set up for it, yeah. I would say even millennial generation too. Yeah.
So like that's the only thing. It's like, we're just like. I'll live at mom's house.
Yeah. What's something that you know that you're proud of as he's talking out there. What's something that you know that you're proud of as a Gen Z that every generation doesn't want to hear?
Oh, I think honestly, my generation is one of the. It's one of the last ones to be a part of like a big generation of like, I think a huge culture shock for like, or just like a bunch of culture out of like, like from the 90s to like 80s. Like, I think we still all got a piece of that, especially like in my year and under. And we still get it in touch with like the younger side of everything. So I think we're like a great split between being able to relate with someone who's a little bit older and being able to relate with someone who's a little bit younger. Whereas I think that on either end of the spectrum, like they're two opposite ends. Like,
controversy.
I think like I don't think you could relate to someone who's like in their teens right now.
No chance.
But I think I could, and I think I could still relate to someone who's in their 40s probably. Okay.
Let us know if you relate to Gen Z in the comments.
I guess I would say we're the most in touch with all culture.
Okay. I like that. Any last words, man? Just kind of wrap up.
No, I think this was fun. I'm glad I was able to get on here and do that.
What's your social media handle? And for those of you guys that are single, his phone number is 626.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding.
Instagram handle Edward_Masuda.
All right, cool.
All right.
What dating apps are you on?
Oh, if you see me on there, you didn't. Don't worry, I'm not on anything. I'm not answering this question.
He's not answering.
No comments.
Oh, man.
No comments.
All right, dude. All right, so find my boy on Hinge because that's where he's at. And I'm just kidding. But all right, cool. Thanks for joining us, man. And thanks for listening, guys.
Well, thank you.